Hey everyone, it's Mrs. Womack here again. Today we are going to discuss predicate nominatives and predicate adjectives. In other words, we will be looking at diagramming sentences that contain linking verbs. Now for today's lesson, it is important that you know and can identify linking verbs. We will not be discussing them in depth in this lesson, so if you're not sure about them, make sure you look them up on your own and review them. Sentences with linking verbs will contain either a predicate nominative or a predicate adjective. Now, a predicate nominative, or a PN, is a noun that equals the same as or equal to the subject. Let's step aside for a moment and look at predicate nominatives further. With a predicate nominative, you will see that both sides of the sentence will have equal values. Now, in order to explain this further, I like to use a very simple mathematical sentence. 1 plus 1 equals 2. You can see here that the value of 1 plus 1 on the left and the value of 2 on the right are the exact same. Now, we can actually take the equal sign and replace it with the linking verb is. 1 plus 1 is 2. Again, we see the value of 1 plus 1 and the value of 2 being the exact same. To further explain this, let's look at a grammatical sentence. Mr. Roberts is my father. Here we have the linking verb is. We can replace that linking verb with an equal sign to show that Mr. Roberts on the left and my father on the right are the exact same. Mr. Roberts and my father are the exact same person. Because both sides of the linking verb will have equal value, that means that both the subject and the predicate nominative must be a noun or a pronoun. Predicate adjectives, or PAs, are adjectives that in the predicate that modify the subject. Again, let's step aside and look at predicate adjectives more in depth. The adjective in the predicate will modify the subject by describing its appearance or its condition. Let's look at the example. The movie was hilarious. Now, in this sentence, movie is our subject. In the predicate, we see the adjective hilarious, and hilarious is reaching back and describing movie all the way in the subject. Here you see that the linking verb will act as a connector between the adjective hilarious and the word it modifies in the subject, which in this sentence is movie. Okay, so let's look at how to diagram a predicate nominative. Our example sentence for this is, Mrs. Womack is my teacher. As always, we were going to start by finding the parts of the sentence. Our verb of this sentence is the linking verb is. So we will box it in green to show that it's a verb, and we will label it LV for linking verb. Next, to find the subject, we ask who or what is. In this sentence, the answer is Mrs. Womack. Mrs. Womack is a proper noun, so we will box it in red and label it S for its function. Now, to find the predicate adjective or the predicate nominative, we're going to ask ourselves, Mrs. Womack is what? In this sentence, the answer is teacher. Because teacher is a noun, we know that we have a predicate nominative, so we're going to circle PN in our formula. We will also box in teacher in the sentence in red to show that it is a noun, and we will label it PN. Next, we add our parts to the diagram. Our diagram for this starts very similarly to what we have seen before. We have a horizontal line to represent our main sentence. We have our vertical line to separate our verb and our subject. But here we're going to add a backslashed slanted line to show the predicate nominative. Now keep in mind, if our line is straight up and down, it's straight vertical, we will be notating a direct object, which you cannot have with a linking verb. So it's very important that when you have a linking verb, you know to make sure that your line following the verb is slanted. Now we simply just add our parts to the diagram. Our linking verb is, our subject is Mrs. Womack, and our predicate nominative is teacher. Now let's look at how to diagram with the predicate adjective. The little child is tired will be our example sentence for this. Again, we will start by finding the parts of the sentence. To find our verb in this sentence, we see that we have the linking verb is. We will label it LV. To find the subject, we ask who or what is. In this sentence, the answer is child, and child is a noun, so we will box it in red, and we will label it S for its function. Now again, we add to our formula the question, the child is what? In this sentence, the answer is tired. Now tired is not a noun, it is an adjective, so we will circle PA. We will box in tired with yellow box to show that it is an adjective, and we will label it PA. Next, we will add the parts to the diagram. We start with our horizontal line, our subject predicate division, and again we have a slanting line going backwards to separate our linking verb from our predicate adjective, and then we simply fill in the diagram. Our linking verb is the word is, our subject is child, and our predicate adjective is tired. That's all there really is to diagramming predicate adjectives or predicate nominatives. We will continue to practice this further in class as we see other examples of sentences with linking verbs. See you next time.